uh, the face of Halloween for the second time this year, and I gotta tell you guys, I am so stoked because this year, not only is Kane Hodder once again, the marvelous, amazing guy who played Jason in the Friday the 13th franchise, and not only is he still involved in the competition and the opportunity for $13,000 in being in, Rue Morgue magazine is once again up. And I am so, so, so excited just about that. But what has me the most stoked here is the fact that Jamie Lee Curtis, the original final girl from the Halloween franchise, she's also going to be involved. And so I would have the opportunity to meet Jason and Jamie Lee, but to top it off, the cherry on top, I'm telling you, I'm just astonished. Matthew Lillard from Scream is also going to be one of the three people that the winner is able to meet. Now, voting will begin here in about 17 days, and it will go on for a few weeks as we come into spooky season. Of course, we're still in the heart of Summerween, but in any case, I'm just so excited, and um I just cannot believe it. So stay tuned to my socials and make sure that you get in on voting for me daily to help me become the final girl in this thing. So yeah, just I'm really excited. If you guys would like to see my questionnaire or my link, you can find that on my socials. And you can take a peek over and see what I had to say in my face of Halloween. I think it's like a 4 questionnaire, but yeah, find out my thoughts on if I think I could survive a scary movie. So, I have 3 little kind of spooky season Summerween things I decided I would cover. First, I want to talk exploring the dark side of New Orleans history. So, NOLA's a place I absolutely love. Most of you probably know that. Beneath the vibrant streets and jazz-filled air of New Orleans lies a history far darker than Mardi Gras beads. What if I told you that the charming balconies and ancient cemeteries hold secrets of voodoo ritual, massacre, and unsolved mysteries that still echo through the French Quarter today? Can you really appreciate the city's beauty without understanding its haunting past? Prepare to see the Crescent City in a haunting new light. So here is my direct question, a challenge, if you will. Do you think you know New Orleans? Think about that. New Orleanians believe that many of us, especially myself, I can't say I know everything about it, but that many people think they know so much, but that they really miss a lot because of being used to, in my estimation and observation, the rat race fast pace of life. And it's a very much more laid back, laissez-faire kind of life there. So New Orleans is a city that died to live. Its vibrant, chaotic spirit thrives on a foundation of forgotten plagues, chilling sacrifice, and the restless whispers of its haunted past. And that's multi-layered, mind you. You think you know the Big Easy? Prepare to uncover the dark truths that make this city so uniquely, terribly alive. So, just imagine this. And I really tried to bring this to my readers' attention when I was writing The Masquerade of Time, A Love Undying, trying to use sensory detail to sort of bring you into the essence of Nola as you're walking through the French Quarter. So imagine the scent of magnolia mixed with something eerie and unknown. The whispered legends of New Orleans go far beyond friendly ghosts and vibrant parades. So, if I were to dive deep into the grim historical narratives that lurk in the shadows of its celebrated facade, uncovering the true darkness that defines the soul of this captivating and yet chilling city, where would I start? Or rather, where would you, the listener, start? And I think that this is important because of the fact that, there's this unsettling shadow of New Orleans past that have been explored and many stories that have been unveiled to continue to haunt the city's charming, exterior. And viewers in this, well, listeners rather, are going to be taken on a compelling journey into the lesser known, darker historical narratives that shape this iconic American city. But what I really want you guys to know is that it's so much more than just the commonly spoken of commercialized aspect. There is a sort of energy, if you will. It's not even a scary one. It's honestly like people talk so much about the darker, shadowy aspects of the city, but it's got this magic that's like a heartbeat. And you can, at least I can, very much feel that when you're in its atmosphere. And when you go to different places and locations within the town, particularly like Congo Square, for example, there's so much energy that was spent by people who were burdened with horror and trauma and pain and yet resilience that is truly, you could just sit there and just almost imagine all the different types of people that have went through to use that space to unload that pain and to also give thanks and gratitude to ancestors and to nature and to each other in community and connection with the spaces that they were in. And I think that that's probably why it has such a palpable energy. All of these things being historically significant, and yet many things often overlooked relate to major conflict, such as the Battle of New Orleans. And this emphasizes how the human toll on the land and forgotten experiences and occurrences have sort of embedded themselves into the very essence of the Crescent City, if you will. So when you go there, if you're drawn to occultism and spirituality, that's something that you had to really understand is that it is almost like its own spiritual mecca within the United States. And I think another location that's probably really important to mention with relevance to that would be Salem, Massachusetts, and also Savannah, Georgia. There are a couple of places that kind of have that, just there's so many things historically to so many people that have happened within them, both large events and smaller events that were sort of domino events that had that domino effect and layered in this signature because of the strength of the emotional and spiritual sacrifices of the many peoples that had been in those places. And I personally feel like I was drawn to NOLA from a very young age because even through books like Anne Rice's and movies like Interview with the Vampire, I felt very strongly that it was like I recognized it as if a deja vu came over me. And this happened when I was very young, and I always felt like I had this magnetic pull. And so when I finally got to New Orleans as a young woman, when I was, 25, 26 years old, somewhere in there, I felt like I needed to do all these things, and I only had a couple of days at that time, and every time that I've went to New Orleans since, I've kind of went for a longer amount of time, which has been great because I was able to really get in and go there, and that's part of what I wanted to say here is even though there's all these very infamous, widely known, internationally known stories, like and it's not that they don't need to be known, like the heinous atrocities of Lollery Mansion, which we will be discussing on Histories of Horror in the upcoming future, AL, Knuckles, and I. But it's all of those other lesser known stories and the power of the people in multiple different ways because again, like I said, it's like it's a spiritual mecca. It's, you can learn. I went to the Voodoo Museum, awesome place to go. You can learn about so many different things from voodoo to hoodoo to, the witches in the area and their history to the vampire community and all of the different stories that correlate to vampires within the city of New Orleans. And also, of course, our vampire queen, Anne Rice, having been from there, all of these things make for a very gothic place, of course. But there's also all of these other historically important figures and events that have come from there, been through there, things that have occurred in the city itself, such as what happened to Jane Mansfield, rest in peace. And, it's a place that's just highlighted by so many different souls and spirits having walked through there, that if you're a person that's sensitive to energies, you're gonna feel it. There's just no denying it. But even in that, there is this joy and gladness, even in the face of all of these darker things and the sort of lack of fear of spirituality or even death as it were, because it's so in your face, and there's so many things that have happened with the floods, with the hurricanes, with the yellow plague, the yellow fever, and the cultural melting pot that was this first oldest port city in our country. So you can understand that those rituals and reverence are an evolution of the nuance of New Orleans' unique funeral and mourning traditions, such as jazz funerals, and how those are times of grief and sadness, but yet they're celebrating with beautiful music and, the sort of appreciation for celebration of the life that passed. And this is a continual theme in New Orleans at various, durations of time throughout the year, from the beginning of the year to the ending of the year. There are different things that occur, parades and second lines. You can just be going down and visiting through the quarter, walking through, and like my brother and I had just went to the Vampire Speakeasy, and we were walking through, and here came a wedding second line, like just like out of the movies. And it's just those moments, even though like I said, we just came out of the Vampire Speakeasy, and we were in that scene, and we come out into this joy, glowing, everyone celebrating this new marriage. And that is why it's such a great place. And then again, going back and highlighting the nickname of the Big Easy from what I said before about that rat race, is that it really is a place where it kind of, even though there's so many fun things to happen, you can just slow down and you can just watch and observe. And there's always something exciting and important and relevant happening. And even though there are echoes of conflict, even though there are battlefields that you're walking through, even there in the French Quarter, and evidences of the rebellions that had to happen, the lingering impact of political turmoil and civil unrest throughout New Orleans history has left this indelible mark on the landscape and the people, to the point that even to this day, if you don't feel the spiritual essence and energy in it, you will see it in those celebrations and how the people themselves are and the sense of camaraderie that they offer. And my personal reflection and for future exploration, the profound nature of New Orleans dark tourism is very broad, and it's important that we understand the city's full complex history so that we can properly respect and pay homage to the persons that helped build this city into what it now is, and the people and the resilience that has passed on through generations in order to continue keeping this beautiful city alive, despite what's come through and despite how many times that it's been nearly burned to the ground. And no matter how many losses that it has endured, it still lasts and it still stands. So I really encourage viewers to seek out deeper narratives when they choose to visit, and that they continually look into ways to stay ethical and to respect the different sensitive historical sites that they're going to be visiting and what they do while they're exploring them. And I would really just love to hear from all of you as you share your own discoveries about any lesser known historical facts about New Orleans, and how we can foster community engagement so that people can have a fun time and take as much as they can when they go towards planning any potential future exploration of the beautiful Crescent City. So, the next time I will talk to you guys about unraveling supernatural occurrences in modern society, and I'll probably tie that back a little bit more into what we talked about tonight, because it is a space that I have visited and is very relevant to the topic. But until then, I just wanted to give you guys this little supernatural speak, exploring the dark side of New Orleans chat tonight. And I hope you guys have a lovely August weekend of Friday the 8th. Bye.